Amen. You never want to play anybody up against that defense in fantasy football. It is time for Top 5 Friday, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. These are my top 5 fantasy values on the sleeper side for Week 6, where you've got 4 teams on a bye and some injuries to consider. I've got one per position. Remember, the Bears, the Raiders. We've got the Colts and the Bills. They are all on a bye. Let's start with a quarterback. So, listen, you can't play Brissett if you picked him up if you lost Cam Newton. Well, I think you should look at Kyle Allen. Tough matchups this week at quarterback. Wentz at Minnesota. Goff has to face off against the 49ers defense. I like Matt Ryan and Kyler Murray this week. If you can't have either of them, pick up Allen this week against a Bucs defense that is second most generous to opposing quarterbacks. He's going to have to throw what should be a high-scoring affair. And the last time he faced a bottom 5 pass defense, the Cardinals, he threw 4 touchdown passes. I think you can trust him in this matchup to get you through Week 6. How about a running back? Oldie, but a goodie. Hasn't been great this year, but neither have the Redskins totally. How about Adrian Peterson? Interim head coach Bill Callahan. He's talked all week long about how they want to run the ball, get the running game going. They've got the Dolphins this week. I love the matchup. They've allowed 9 touchdowns already. 9, 5 on the ground, 4 through the air, 2 running backs, and the most points overall to the position. If you have Marlon Mack, if you have Josh Jacobs on a bye, scoop up and play Adrian Peterson. And if you have Chris Thompson, you need to get him in your lineup also in a PPR league for this matchup. Let's go to a wide receiver. Not DeAndre Hopkins, not Will Fuller, Kiki Qt.
Oh, really?
You gotta keep an eye on Kenny Stills. If Kenny Stills doesn't suit up, this is your guy. He missed last week's game, Kenny Stills, with a hammy. QT stepped up. He had 72 yards on the day. He doesn't get a ton of targets, but if Stills is out again, and you're in a tough spot, meaning, this week, Nate, you can't play T.Y., you can't play Allen Robinson. They're on a bye. You can't play your boy Tyrell Williams from the Raiders.
Right.
They're all taking a snoozer this week. Take a shot on QT. It should be a high-scoring game. They're up against Kansas City. It is in Arrowhead. But you can throw on this defense, and you're going to have to throw to keep up with Patrick Mahomes wanting to come off a loss to the Colts. At tight end, Noah Fant. Slow start to the season. He's a rookie. He's getting warmed up. They're just coming off their first win in Denver to the Chargers. But the options at this position at tight end, they're scarce this week in Week 6. I love the matchup. They've got the Titans. They've allowed 4 touchdowns to tight ends already this season through 5 weeks. He scored, by the way, in Week 4 against the Jags. I think they're working him in to this offense and giving him more opportunities. By the way, the 1 touchdown he did score was sick. So I like him and trust him on Sunday if you need help. At defense, it's not a sleeper, but it's the Redskins. Everyone yells at me when I say play a sleeper up against the Dolphins. Listen, they're under 30% owned still. You can go get this defense. And they really haven't been able to get anything going yet this season, but they have forced 7 turnovers over the last 4 games. They sacked Tom Brady 4 times last week. So pick them up and play them if you are into the streaming defenses game, and you should be. There's your fantasy values. We've got Kyle Allen, Adrian Peterson, 1 per position. I like Kiki QT, even though he's the 3rd option. Only play him and pick him up if Kenny Stills is out again with that hammy. Noah Fant at tight end. Might not get a ton of targets, but he's got big play potential against Tennessee. And the Redskins defense, any defense up against Miami. Tonight, on NFL 100 Roundtable, some of the greatest wide receivers. Nate's probably excited about this. They're coming together to celebrate the NFL's 100th season, and we're just invited to be flies on the wall and listen to it all. This is a sneak peek where Michael Irvin shares his welcome to the NFL. Thursday Night Football, just 6 nights away, gentlemen. We've got the reigning MVP, Patrick Mahomes, with the Chiefs offense trying to fly high. Von Miller might have something to say about that. The Broncos are looking to defend their mile-high turf. It's Chiefs-Broncos next Thursday night. It's Thursday Night Football at 8 p.m. Eastern. It is on NFL Network. It's on Fox, and it's streaming on Prime Video. A lot of options for you for next week. We've got a full slate of action, of course, on Sunday, starting out with the Bucs and the Panthers in London, only on NFL Network. So for the first month of the season, it was hard to find an offense hotter than these Chiefs, right? It's been a different story the past few weeks. Mahomes is nursing an ankle injury. It had him limping a little bit in Sunday's loss to the Colts. And Jeffrey Chadia has more on the banged-up reigning MVP.
The left ankle of quarterback Patrick Mahomes has been all the talk around the Kansas City Chiefs this week. He first hurt that ankle in Week 1 against Jacksonville. He re-injured it against the Colts last weekend. And after the game on Sunday night, he said he was still feeling pretty sore. But Mahomes this week said that he's starting to feel better, and the Chiefs are saying the same thing. Offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy said that even if he's banged up, they don't want to limit what he does offensively. They want him to have the full playbook because that's the kind of warrior he is. The bigger question is what's going to be around Mahomes. He's going to have 2 offensive linemen down, and he's still going to face a lot of man coverage. Now, in weeks past, he was able to use his mobility to get away from players and be able to give defenses fits. This time around, even if he's banged up, he's going to have to find more ways to work his magic. We'll see what happens against the Houston Texans this weekend.
I'm hoping it's a high-flying, high-scoring affair. Thank you so much to Jeffrey Chidi. We got to get him in studio.
Yeah, he's great.
Jeff, we love him.
Awesome
so this
job.
week, we've got Mahomes and the Chiefs against another quarterback from the 2017 draft class, and Deshaun Watson. It's the first time these two facing off against each other, and he's fresh off that 5-touchdown performance against the Falcons. Is this something going on here with these two quarterbacks? What's the deal?
I go back to Philadelphia, and you say, well, what's the Philadelphia? The NFL Draft 2017 was in Philadelphia. We were there as a show, and with the 10th overall pick, a trade has been made. The Kansas City Chiefs are moving up to 10, and I'll never forget Rich Eisen and Mike Mayock said, is this for Watson? And they take Patrick Mahomes, 10th overall, and all of us went, whoa!
And Eisen went, whoa, on the call. I remember it.
2 picks later, the Houston Texans trade up, and they select Deshaun Watson. And here these guys are on these paths. First year, it was all Watson. Mahomes watched from the sideline, don't even knew his name. Second year, it was all Mahomes. Watson, maybe kind of watching from afar. Had a nice
Bouncing back from that ACL.
Yeah, 11 wins in a row. And now they're both coming, and they're almost at this like apex of their third year. Both of them just rising in the AFC. Who's going to be the next one? I think there's a ton of stakes in this game. And I think if Deshaun Watson beats Patrick Mahomes, it's a statement to across the league and saying, now hold the phone here. Hold the phone here.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys jumped on that train a little early. I can still play some football too. Fascinated by this matchup. I love the dynamic of them drafting. Kay, you mentioned it. They didn't play in college. One was at Clemson, one was at Texas Tech. And they only know each other from working out with Jordan Palmer back when they were in high school.
Is that right?
Yeah. So this is not like these guys have been battling for 10 years. They're not bosom buddies. It could be the matchup. This could be our Brady and Manning for the next decade, though. So if this is chapter 1 in the AFC, I'm in.
What I love about this is that Deshaun Watson he's received that title as an athletic quarterback, and rightfully so. I mean, he can tuck it and run it with the best of them. But this past weekend, it was almost like he was changing the narrative right in front of our eyes, that 5-touchdown game, staying clean within the pocket. And as much as people can make the argument that Pat Mahomes is the most prolific passer maybe this league has seen in quite some time, Deshaun Watson said last week, wait a minute. I might be athletic, but I can throw it too. I can have a tremendous game with my star wide receiver, my number 1 wide receiver, not going off. And he did that last week, and that's why I love this, because this matchup says a lot about who's the best young quarterback, who's going to take the torch from Breeze and Brady and Rivers, and also within the individual battle for the MVP award, one of these guys could end up being our league MVP. I know Russell Wilson, for me, is at the top of the list, but if you're looking just at quarterbacks, Christian McCaffrey aside, it is Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and then Pat Mahomes, because the last couple weeks, Pat Mahomes hasn't been lighting up the scoreboard.
It's such a fun conversation. It's like when we talk about McCaffrey or Saquon, like these are champagne problems. Who's better? And this is pepperoni or sausage, the two of them. I think it's interesting with Peter, what you're saying about Mahomes kind of had the train got full, and they asked us Watson and saying, like, hold on a second. Watson has to deal with some stuff that Mahomes has not. Watson doesn't get to come in and play for Andy Reid, doesn't get to sit for a whole year behind a venerable guy like Alex Smith and learn. Watson already had the big injury that he's dealt with. So I feel like in a way his degree of difficulty has been bigger, and yet right now there's a whole deal with Mahomes where I just can't scream it enough that the Tyreek Hill deal is a huge, huge deal. You say, well, everybody deals with injuries. Nobody has Tyreek Hill. No one has that. It is the best weapon in all of football at any position. And he doesn't have it. And we're like, well, Mahomes will just Mahomes, and you can throw in some guys there and throw to him. I just think we're right now at a down time for Mahomes because some of his most valuable players are not out there. If you want me to say who's got a brighter future, I guess I would go Mahomes by a hair.
Really?
But by a hair. I think that he is a more talented passer. But we're splitting hairs now, the two of them. I don't know if it's a Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. It feels more like a next generation, like a Trout and Harper, or like a Hobbs and Shaw, whatever the hell it is.
Great movie.
Incredible. Tour de force.
I mean, you can say what you want about the pass rushers on both sides. Whitney Merciless is going to want to get to Patrick Mahomes, and you can say what you want about that offensive line. But, I mean, just the way Patrick Mahomes plays, he's only been sacked 7 times. They've allowed 7 sacks through 5 weeks. So we'll see if Deshaun Watson can get the ball out of his hand as quickly as he has been. And that offensive line, they had some rookies. I feel like they're gelling. They made the trade for Tunsil. I sort of clowned on it. I don't know why they were making that trade, what they were doing with Bill O'Brien making the calls there. But it's clearly maybe coming together just at the right time for Watson v. Mahomes to really play at their best in Week 6.
No doubt. And to Kyle's point, you talk about Tyreek Hill, he's the ultimate man beat.
Yeah.
And Travis Kelce said last week in that loss, they played us man, and said, beat us.
Right.
You know what's crazy? Versus man this year, Pat Mahomes, his completion percentage drops 22%.
22?
His
Whoa.
passer rating is nearly cut in half versus man this year.
Okay.
You know who changes that? Tyreek Hill.
No.
He can beat every coverage, but he's not on the field. Makes a big difference within this offense.
Got the guy covering the coverage all across the league right now. It's Will Selva out in the newsroom in Culver City with the latest from coast to coast on a Friday after Thursday night action kicked off.
That's right. Happy Friday to all of you. And you want it, I want it, we all want to see Michael Thomas being defended by Jags corner Jalen Ramsey on Sunday. And it looks like we may be getting our wish here. And you can thank owner Shad Khan for providing this ray of optimism for us. Khan telling the street he thinks Ramsey will be playing against the Saints. Khan even says he had a heart-to-heart with Ramsey and all parties will come to whatever makes most sense. Ramsey has missed the past 2 games with a back injury. He returned to practice on a limited basis after seeing a back specialist in Houston. Jets tight end Chris Herndon was expected to lend a boost to the offense after his return from a 4-game suspension, but it looks like it'll be delayed a little longer. According to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, Herndon now dealing with a grade 1 hamstring injury suffered in practice that is expected to sideline him a couple more weeks. Jaguars quarterback Gardner Minshew showing up on the injury report as he was limited at practice on Thursday with a groin injury. He'll be taking on Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints on Sunday, but is Minshew bummed he won't be going up against the future Hall of Famer and Drew Brees in this one?
No, I'm glad he's not playing, right? I mean, jeez, you know. Nah, but I mean, I hope to meet him. That'd be cool. But yeah, no, he's a great player, and Teddy Bridgewater's been playing great as well. So not much slack there. So we gotta come out and be ready.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be cool to meet Breeze as well. One funny note here, Minshew likes, like most people, plays fantasy football, but one of his buddies revealed to ESPN Minshew doesn't even have himself on his own fantasy team and is still available in the league. Apparently, he has Kyler Murray as his QB1. So Gardner Minshew going with a different quarterback other than himself in fantasy football.
I mean, it'd be one thing if it was Deshaun Watson or something. He goes with Kyler.
Another rookie.
Yeah, I go
Taking about 700 picks before him.
Okay, that's interesting.
Kyler's got a nice little matchup this week. I think he'll be a QB1. Well done. And I have DJ Chark, so Minshew, like, you get it. Keep it going. More Good Morning Football on the way from talking the Rams and the Niners' undefeated run. I don't know.
It's a good one. I don't know what to make of the Niners yet. We'll see.
They're in LA.
What to make of the Rams?
Who's the better quarterback?
Good question.
I don't know.
Don't know. And will Jalen Ramsey be better? Who's the better coach right now?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll be back on
Well, they
this
pay us the big bucks.
on Friday. Where does he stand with the Jags? Jalen, you're here and he might go?
Jalen versus Michael Thomas is tune-in television.
Apparently, Jalen had a heart-to-heart with Brass.
Yeah.